Hi guys, my name is Jocelyn and I am the business manager for LiveTune. It is a product that Slava just talked about previously, and it is our first foray into nearly automating your retention optimization efforts. So I'm gonna get started. LiveTune is actually it's a really special project to me because it's one of the first ones I ever worked on since joining Unity. And it is the first thing that we're trying to do, again, as I just talked about, for automating retention for you guys. So as you can see here, this is our entire retention and monetization platform that we want to build out to make it easy for you guys to increase retention and improve your monetization. What LiveTune does is improve the entire play experience for your players, and it's super relevant to anyone in your studio. From your engineering leads, it helps with reducing the time it takes to scale out to all devices and improve performance.
I'm very good at helping myself.
Performance automation methods. For your UA managers, it does help indirectly improve your UA efforts, and for monetization, obviously helps with just improving LTV, and lastly for your live ops for churn problems that you might have. So I want to give you some more context about why we made LiveTune in the first place. And that's because there's that common problem that you guys all know, that bad performance leads to bad retention and LTV. Not only does this impact your current retention, it impacts your future UA efforts. So let's say that you're a UA manager, you're spending a lot of money on getting players to see your ads, and the players click on your ad, go to the install page on Google Play or at the App Store. But they stop there because they see really low reviews on the store. Then players are going to say, hey, I see this average review of maybe 3 stars. I might not want to spend my time downloading and trying a game that people have already negatively reviewed. So that impacts your future growth efforts as well. That's another problem. Both of them are problems that we're trying to solve for you guys. So these are some examples of bad performance, just to reiterate. So app crashes, long loading times, frame stuttering, if that loads. Yeah, so as players yourselves, you know how frustrating this is. This takes you out of the very immersive experience that all games should be. But why, if this is such a huge problem in games, why hasn't anyone addressed this? And the problem is device fragmentation. So device fragmentation, in a nutshell, is the fact that there are more than 50,000 devices out there and growing every day. And that's because on the Android side, there's so many different device models, different manufacturers, and based on where a model might be made and what time it might be made, it might have different GPU specs. So let's say you have a Samsung Galaxy S5 and you're testing out your game on it. It might work perfectly on that Galaxy S5, but someone else might have a device that was manufactured completely different region, completely different time, doesn't run your game properly, crashes. And there you have a bad review and some churn. So Unity, in order to address this problem, made LiveTune. And as Slava mentioned before, Unity is strategic in making these sorts of products that take this enormous amount of data at hand, 3 billion devices that we have information on, and condensing it into something that you can use automatically. So with LiveTune, you can deliver the optimal quality and performance on every device that we have information on. How it does that is that it will adjust content quality for every device so that you get manual control over your game. So you're basically still creating the content, being the artist of your game, and leveraging what we offer you to make sure that you're optimizing for everything out there with minimal effort. So here are the benefits just laid out for you guys. So the first one is, by bettering performance, obviously players will get a better player experience and lead to lower user churn. The second part is you're boosting player retention because of the previous benefit. And we actually had a case where Nvisio increased their long-term player retention by 50% on Android devices. The third one is increasing the market coverage. You get to support more devices with high revenue potential by relying on Unity's data set. So you guys don't have to do the device research and implementation into any performance improvement processes that you have. And that leads into the lower engineering costs because you don't have to spend the money or the engineering hours in order to do that. You can focus that on creating content for your game instead. So the LiveTune difference. We just played this video, but I want to play it again for you guys just to reiterate how strong of a product LiveTune is. So this was actually created while LiveTune was still in alpha. So we worked with Sylvain, the executive producer of Envisio, who is here with us today, on his game Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch, which you can see is a giant amusement park world builder game where you keep adding like more assets that make the game a really immersive, really cool experience. I highly recommend trying out the game. It's really fun to play. But as you can see, because there's so many assets, there's so much going on in the game that devices that have like lower specs might have like lower FPS. And we were able to deliver LiveTune to Sylvain and his team and improve their FPS from 8 points in that example, as you saw, to 14 in the LiveTune example. Oops. So to sum it up, his results were that a third of his players got better performance, average FPS improved by 5, and again, 50% of the Android players, the 50% improvement of long-term retention on the Android. We worked with another customer called Yodo One. They're a big publisher in China, and they're the publisher of this game called Rodeo Stampede, which is an endless runner. They were able to see a 26% increase in day one retention, 17% increase in playtime, and save 200 engineering hours because they swapped out a similar system that they had on hand to use LiveTune. So now I'm going to get into how LiveTune works. And LiveTune is a really simple 3-step process to work with. The first part is the content configuration, where you get to decide how you want to change up the content in your games. The second part is the dynamic tuning, and that's where all of our data comes into play, and that's where you can just kind of deliver all of the different content you want to all the different devices out there in near real time. And the third part is the results analysis, where you get to see what's going on in your games and make some decisions on experimentation, segmentation, etc. So for the content configuration section, there's 3 parts to that one. So the first part is defining the quality levels of your assets in the game. The second part is setting up the dynamic tuning rules. And the third part is creating an A/B test to launch this experiment. So quality levels. These are the quality levels that we support that you can configure in your game. So any sort of assets like textures, shaders, any sort of effects, shadows and lighting, rendering, like target FPS, those are all available to be supported by LiveTune. And you can go in, tune them, decide how many particles, how strong the shadows are, et cetera, in your game. And you have a lot of control over everything you want to tune in the game. So this is what it looks like. You're going to set a default level on different kinds of quality settings. And our system will take the default level, send it out to devices, and then based on the device performance, what the device information we have on hand is, it will deliver different kinds of levels to optimize your performance for that game. So for LiveTune, what we do is we shake up the status quo. We know that right now, a lot of developers are building maybe 2 to 4 builds and sending them out to every device out there. But with LiveTune, you make one build and set different quality levels inside the game, and it will automatically match the quality levels with the device in order to deliver an optimal performance. So this is how the dynamic tuning works. So you get to set the parameters of what you want to define as good performance. So right now, the metric that we have is average FPS, but we're going to be working on new metrics down the line that's going to be helpful for you guys. You get to set the target FPS, and then you say the thresholds for this would be maybe 23 would be the minimum. And then below that, you want to degrade the quality level. And maybe you want to enhance the quality level once it hits 28. So you get some manual control over this as well. So how it works, as you can see in this diagram here, is that we first send out a default level of quality settings to the device. It will measure the average FPS based on different snapshots of performance that you guys can set up as well. And it's going to compare the average FPS with the thresholds that you decide. So if it's like below, for example, it will say, hey, this is not quite up to par. And then it will degrade the quality levels and send out a better experience for your players. So for the LiveTune package, it's actually quite simple to implement. It takes about maybe less than half a day. That's what we've been hearing from our developers to actually implement. And what it will do is track performance in your game and apply the latest settings that you configure in your dashboard. And it's a very light package. I think it's 20 kilobytes, I think. So there's no harm done to your games. The third part is launching with an A/B test. So this is what our dashboard looks like. And as you can see here, you can experiment with the control group as well as a test group. You can see the average FPS, playtime, average revenue per daily active user. So you can actually see how LiveTune impacts your LTV as well. And it will show you whether a result is statistically significant or not, and the exact percentage differences. What's also very relevant is that it will show you exactly when LiveTune was implemented, so you can see the actual time frame it took to reach these specific goals. So LiveTune is now in open beta. We just opened it up a few days ago, and we'd like to invite all of you guys to try it out. So we have more than 70 games currently using LiveTune in alpha, and top of the list, of course, Invisio, and here are some of our other partners. So the requirements for joining our beta is, obviously, you'd like to use FPS to improve retention. You do have to have analytics on, and that's because we need to be able to send performance data over, analyze that, and then optimize your games. And we do strongly recommend that you run the A/B tests for at least 12 weeks with at least 20% of your users in your test group, and that your game has 1,000 or more DAU on Android. And this is for you guys to make sure that the results that you are getting are significant. So it's completely free while you're in beta. So with the results that we've been seeing from our partners, it's a win-win solution. You save a lot of money on engineering, improve your retention and LTV. And to get started, it's a really simple process. Just go to your Operate dashboard, go to Optimization, and then to LiveTune. And it'll have all the instructions, the link to the LiveTune package, and everything you need to get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to email either me, so Jocelyn S@unity3d.com, or LiveTune@unity3d.com. We also have a Connect group, and a lot of our ads BD managers are available to talk about this. Cool. Oops, sorry. That's it. Thanks, guys.